Yeah, what's up, guys? This is Retronic Guy's Cat. You're on the Real News Talk channel. You know what to do. So, as most of y'all saw the Royal Rumble this past weekend, it was a good show, you know, but it wasn't that great. But it could have been better, despite Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble for the second year in a row, being in the category of Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, winning it 2 years in a row. And he did it for the first time in 26 years. So congrats to Cody Rhodes and congratulations to Bayley for winning the Royal Rumble. Well deserved, well deserved. She did really well. You know, she came in at number 3 and lasted pretty much a full hour in that ring and came out victorious. The Grand Slam champion. And I know she's going to go for Io Sky for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania 40. It's not Rhea Ripley, trust me. It's Io Sky because Damage Control have been acting pretty flaky on Bayley lately. So I can see Bayley turning face and parting ways with the group that she created. I don't know about Dakota Kai. Don't know if she will join Bayley, but that remains to be seen. But congratulations to Bayley once again. Well deserved, well deserved. She came a long way. Now, to this whole situation with Triple H, deflecting the question in regards to the whole Vince McMahon scandal, his father-in-law. He was asked by a few people in the audience at the press conference about his thoughts on the whole matter. And his answer was, I just want to focus on the positive. I don't want to get too deep into it. And you know what it is? It's because he's in on it. Him and several other employees are in on this whole situation. That's why he didn't comment on it. Plus, he's the son-in-law of Vince McMahon. So obviously he's going to defend his father-in-law to the core. He's not going to throw him underneath the bus. Because he's pretty much family. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget he married the boss's daughter back in 2003. He slept with the boss's daughter to get to where he is today. So there's no surprise right there why he would deflect the question. I mean, what did you expect Triple H to say? Other than what he said. I just knew right off the bat he was going to come out with something like that. Because the WWE has a lot of dirt on them. Hell, even Ryback made a short video on the people that could be involved in this whole situation. He even threw names like Paul Heyman, Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes, and several other talents. We all know that John Laurinaitis is involved, man. Come on, he looks like a fucking creep anyway. Just by looking at his face. He hasn't shown his face since. But yeah, a lot of them are involved in this whole situation. Come on, man. They're all working cahoots with each other. They all work hand in hand. So obviously they're not going to say anything. Because the WWE has a history of treating women in such ways. But someone may say, oh, but these women, they, what's that word? They consented to be treated as such just to get money. Because when you're a successful person, when you're in a position of power, when you're part of the elite team, and you have money, trust me, a few $1 million ain't shit to these elites like Trump, Epstein, and all these other guys that Vince McMahon is aligned with. Because he's part of that team. He's part of that crew. Hence why Vince did what he did. and acted the way he acted. Because he has money to splash around like it's nothing. So he allegedly paid Janelle Grant $1 million, but he was supposed to pay her $3 million. But instead, he paid her $1 million out of the $3 million. And because she didn't get the full amount, she decided to expose him. Just right around the time WWE purchased Netflix on a $5 billion deal. And The Rock being the board of directors of TKO as well. Just right about the time when things were looking up for the WWE, this whole shit comes out. This always happens. This is always the case. Just like 4 years ago when Tessa Blanchard, right, won the TNA Knockouts, I mean, not the Knockouts Championship, the Heavyweight Championship, the men's belt, the men's heavyweight belt. Right around that time, she got exposed for allegedly spitting on an employee and calling her the N-word, a Puerto Rican wrestler in Japan in 2017. Just before she won the belt. Just before she was going to make noise and make a name for herself in pro wrestling. She got exposed and her career has not recovered since then. Hence why she's taking bookings on indie shows. And she's currently studying in college right now. I think she's studying politics or some shit like that. But yeah, her career hasn't been the same. And the same thing has happened to Vince McMahon. And Brock Lesnar as well. Allegedly taking part in Vince McMahon's scandal. But if you think about it, Brock Lesnar has been accused of such things before. Remember when Terry Reynolds accused Brock Lesnar of exposing himself backstage at a UK pay-per-view, I believe, called Insurrection in 2002. The same time the plane ride from hell took place. But Terry Reynolds didn't say nothing until a little bit later on. That was when Lesnar was kickstarting his career and became the next big thing. And now this comes out. That's why Brock Lesnar wasn't at the Royal Rumble. Because he was supposed to be in the Royal Rumble match, but Braun Breaker took his place. And Braun Breaker did really well in that Royal Rumble match. I ain't gonna lie. Braun Breaker did well for himself. Congratulations to him as well. Even though he got thrown out the ring by Dominic Mysterio, and then as he was walking backstage, he speared JD McDonough. And then he was interviewed saying that Raw is his new home and his target is to go after the Judgment Day. So he's going to be in a feud with him. So I think he's pretty much on his way out from NXT at that point. So yeah, well done to him. Brock Lesnar was supposed to fill that spot, but obviously due to the allegations and that, he couldn't attend. And now his career will never be the same again. Despite all his accomplishments from being a former UFC heavyweight champion, a multi-time WWE champion. You know, it's a shame. It's really, really sad because I've been a fan of Brock Lesnar since 2002. Since he was the next big thing. And Brock Lesnar, it was rumored that he was planning to retire in his hometown of Minneapolis, Minnesota next year, WrestleMania 41, where WrestleMania may take place. He was going to end his career right there and then, but we don't know if that's ever going to happen now. I think his career may have been cut short due to this whole situation, because all of that has been tainted now. It's not a good look. When you've been accused of such things, your career will never be the same again. Just look at Bill Cosby when he got accused by multiple women, drugging up women and having his way with them. Even though he went to jail for hearsay and there was no solid evidence, but still, once you're linked to such things, you will never be the same again. R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, you name it. A lot of successful guys have had their careers ruined due to, allegations like sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, rape, you name it. And it's a shame that Brock Lesnar may have to go down with Vince. It's sad, man. I know he's a Vince McMahon guy. He was never a Triple H guy. He was a Vince McMahon guy through and through. But I guess we're going to have to see what the outcome is later on down the line. But with Vince McMahon being a billionaire, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Because Donald Trump was accused of such things as well, but not much happened. Because Donald Trump has powerful attorneys. He's a billionaire himself. He's an elite guy. So when you're at an elite level, when you're part of the elite team, it's very hard for people to take them down. Very, very hard. Because they can pay people off. And nothing will happen. And they'll still do their shit. It's all about bribery at the end of the day. But if you're not an elite guy and you were accused of such things, trust me, you're going down. You're going down hard. But you know what? The Most High is revealing everything. He's revealing stuff right now. Because whatever's done in the dark will come to light. 2024 is the year of exposure. P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him, his career is pretty much over due to Cassie exposing him. And do you see how quickly he paid Cassie $30 to $50 million to keep her quiet from exposing him even further? And Vince McMahon resigning from his spot, in TKO. Why would he resign anyway? Like, he's denying the allegation, but yet he resigned. Wouldn't he be fighting for his spot? Wouldn't he be fighting to keep his spot in TKO? But instead, he backed down. This is the second time he's retired. Well, I don't know if he retired the first time. I don't know if he ever did. I don't think he left in the first place because I think he just went away for a bit for things to die down when he got accused by other women for hush money. He just went away and was just doing things behind the scenes. So he wasn't seen until January 2023. So he was only gone for 6 months. He just took a 6-month cooling off period. And eventually, everything has just been thrown out the window. It's been forgotten. Like it was nothing. You see? So, yeah. Vince McMahon is on his way to the grave anyway. Maybe that's why he decided to resign. And he's almost 80 years old. Vince McMahon has done a lot for the company for 40 years after taking over from his late father, Vince McMahon Sr. He did a lot. But he also did a lot of dirty shit. He did a lot of dirty shit. He did a lot of people over. In fact, yeah, he was responsible for a lot of wrestlers' deaths. He sacrificed a lot of wrestlers. Trust me. Loads of them. Because I remember 20, 30 years ago, wrestlers were just dying like flies. They were just dying like it was nothing. And most of the deaths were common, either drug overdose or heart attack. Drug overdose or heart attack. That's what these wrestlers were dying of. Now I know Vince McMahon sacrificed them. Hence why Vince McMahon is filthy rich. Look what he did to the Hart family. Look how he treated Brett. You know? That's just an example. It's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. But karma has finally caught up with him. I don't know his relationship status with his children, Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon. I don't know how they feel about it, but I know they know what their father is like. That's why Stephanie McMahon immediately quit WWE as soon as her father came back into the picture. Because maybe she doesn't want anything to do with her father, business-wise. And have you ever wondered why Shane McMahon left the company in 2009, went away for 7 years, and did his own thing? It's obvious that they know something that we don't know. There's more to the story, trust me. It's not just this Janelle Grant woman. There's a lot of women that are involved, but they may have signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. That's why they're not saying anything. But I'm sure some of them will very soon. You know, hell, even Ashley Massaro, right, when she was part of the WWE, God rest her soul, there was a story about her being raped in Iraq during the tribute to the Troop show. I think it was 2006. One of those years, 2006, 2007, when they went overseas. And she was raped by one of the soldiers. And I think she addressed this shortly after. I'm not sure exactly when she did, but I know she addressed it. She did address it shortly after. And eventually she got released from the company not long after. I think, yeah, she got released in 2008. She was only in the company for 3 years. And after what happened, what allegedly happened in Iraq, she was never the same. That haunted her right up to her death. And I'm sure Vince McMahon and the rest of the crew were in on it as well. And I think she complained about it, but nothing happened. They didn't take her seriously because they were in on it. Vince McMahon doesn't care about his employees. He only cares about himself and money. Because remember, in 2002, I know some of you may remember, but in 2002, Vince McMahon did a promo segment where he said that he wanted to kill his creation while he was bringing in the NWO, the new world order. When he said he was going to kill his creation, he used the NWO as an example, but he's talking about the real NWO that's going on in the world right now, that's going to take over the world with all these AIs and whatnot. That's the new world order he's talking about. He weren't really talking about the gimmick NWO. He's talking about the real NWO indirectly. Well, he got his wish because words are spells. Because sometimes you got to be careful what you say. And you got to be careful what you wish for too, because at the end of the day, whatever you say may come to fruition. And Vince McMahon got his wish. He got his wish, all right. He definitely killed his legacy and his reputation. And now the WWE is in turmoil at the moment, right now. And Triple H has to pick up the pieces. You see, the industry is evil as a whole. Not just in the wrestling business, but in the music business, Hollywood. It's just an evil place. It's a demonic place. That's Satan's house. God's children don't belong in Satan's house. And Satan doesn't belong in God's house. Because in order to be in the industry, you have to make blood sacrifices. You have to do rituals. You have to drink piss, eat shit in order to go through the door. And if you don't comply with their needs, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to be kicked to the curb. They're going to throw you aside like you're a piece of shit. That's the only way you're going to get through the door, is if you comply to those demands. It's not your talent that will get you through the door. It's how you can please them. It's how you can satisfy them. Also in a sexual way as well. You have to do sexual activities with certain people. Even if you don't want to do it, you're obligated to, or else you ain't making it. That's how it is. And the wrestling industry is no different. These people are witches and warlocks, man. You know. Personally, me, I don't trust any of these people, man. I don't trust any of them. I just go by the spirit at the end of the day. I mean, some of them are sincere, some of them are good people, but they were just dragged into this evil, demonic industry. And ultimately, they left. Because they didn't do what they were told. Do you know what I'm saying? Hell, even Kylie Ray finally spoke out briefly by responding to a fan on Twitter when she was asked, oh, what does she think about women abusing wrestling? And she was like, oh, women abusing wrestling is disgusting. That's all she said, somewhere along those lines. I can't remember word for word what she said, but she said something like that. That's why Kylie Ray never really made it. Even though she was in WWE NXT and she was in AEW Impact Wrestling, but she never lasted long in those companies. That's why she never lasted long. Maybe because she didn't want to sell out. Maybe that's what contributed to her mental health. And trust me, when you see things that a lot of people don't know, because don't forget, we're just outsiders looking in. When you're in the industry and you see such things, it could fucking haunt you. It could fuck up your mental well-being and your spiritual well-being. Demons could be plaguing you. Legions. That's why a lot of people resort to drugs. They commit suicide. They do all sorts of crazy shit because of the stuff that they've seen, that they've witnessed, but they just cannot express themselves. They can't explain it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know what you're signing up for and know what to expect at the end of the day. Plus, Deonna Purrazzo, she never signed with the WWE again because she knows something that we don't know. It's not because of the lack of patience. is due to what they do behind the scenes and the demands that they're requiring from that individual. Because I believe Deanna Purrazzo is a spiritual person. And that spirit rejected that place. Because again, God's chosen people don't belong in Satan's house. And Satan doesn't belong in God's house. So that's the reason why Deanna Purrazzo signed with AEW instead of WWE. I'm not saying that AEW is any better, but it's not as bad or sadistic as the WWE. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let me read the article of the whole press conference with Triple H denying the allegations. Daily update. Triple H's response to Vince McMahon allegations. Dave shares his thoughts on Triple H's response and more WWE Royal Rumble fallout. One of the largest issues in the history of The Observer is out this week. The Janelle Grant lawsuit against Vince McMahon. Analysis of the lawsuit and different claims. Details of the claims. Comments from all sides. Just how vulgar some of the stories were. What the text messages shows. Oh yeah. I forgot to mention Vince McMahon allegedly shitted on the woman's head while having sex with her. Madness. The Netflix deal and full details. The economics of the deal. How much money WWE is guaranteed without selling one ticket or selling any merchandise or advertising a sponsorships. Background of the negotiations. Dwayne Johnson on the board of directors. More on 2025 plans. Nick Khan, Dwayne Johnson, and other comments. How this affects AEW. Difference between AEW and WWE audience when it comes to college education and household earnings. Ratings going forward. Mark Shapiro's new contract. AEW house show issues and what has to be done and changes expected to be made. Issues with the events. A look at the Royal Rumble. Full UFC 297 coverage. UFC signs Kayla Harrison and her biggest tests. God. I'm not reading all this shit, man. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. We had 2 shows this week covering the Vince McMahon, WWE John Laurinaitis lawsuit and the departure of McMahon from TKO. The Friday show with Garrett went through the lawsuit in as much detail as we could stomach prior to Vince's resignation. Last night's show with Brian talked about the resignation and more thoughts on what happened. Regarding the press conference last night, it kind of boggles the mind that Paul Levesque was prepared so poorly for the questions. While he couldn't have said much, he could have at least said some things. Talking about a week where the company has gotten its most mainstream news and most negative news, and clearly had aged Paul himself greatly. As a great week was a very poor choice of words. Obviously, there was little he could say, but the idea of saying that he found out the same time we did, or that he didn't read the lawsuit. The reality is he was on the board of directors. He knew about this in 2022, months before the Wall Street Journal. Is it possible he didn't know the details were as sordid as the lawsuit? Yes. But as a major executive in a company that was sued, the idea he didn't read it would either indicate being oblivious to a major news story involving the company or a dishonest answer. I don't know which one it was, but the people who advised him did a horrible job. I'm guessing Cody Rhodes, who was asked a similar question and handled it better. Probably wasn't advised either, but he's not an executive. I also think that it's very important to not turn this story into Paul Levesque, not to ignore Paul Levesque or wonder who knows what. Ultimately, this is a story about Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the culture stemming from the top at WWE that has been there for a long time. The problem is it came from the top. Vince McMahon. So even if many had acknowledged, and obviously many did, acting like they could have changed it is being naive. Vince isn't coming back, but we do have to look at the top of TKO, and that's not Levesque or even Nick Khan. But it is Ari Emanuel who made the decision to keep him in the company after so much had already come out, and those on the board who did an investigation and never interviewed Janelle Grant, who was the person whose story ultimately started the ball rolling to uncover multiple payoffs. I don't think Levesque was hung out to dry or purpose, nor is this a defense of him. But once they decided to do the press conference, he needed to be prepped on what to say, and they failed him badly. Regarding the Rumble show last night, the biggest news involving Mania is that Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes is the planned main event. Reigns versus Rock is still on the boards, but for later, as long as Rock is open to doing it. All of the expected matches going in: Io Sky versus Bayley, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is still there. There were a number of changes made for Mania in the last few days. The way it was explained to me is that it involves the creative plans for Brock Lesnar and the domino effect when the decision was made at the last minute to not have Lesnar on the show due to the lawsuit. Lesnar's planned creative last night was filled by Braun Breaker. Pretty much his point of entry, eliminations, and how he was eliminated were all planned for Lesnar. The Lesnar creative, which at this point he's not going to be involved with unless they decide they would bring him back, was Lesnar versus Dominic Mysterio in Australia and Lesnar versus Gunther. I don't know. Factually, an IC title match, but one would expect at WrestleMania. Whether Braun Breaker gets those matches is not clear yet. As far as Google searches this week, the Royal Rumble got 500,000 searches, and for the weekend was behind E. Jean Carroll, the Lakers, and the Chiefs versus Ravens game. Vince McMahon was number 4 on Thursday when the lawsuit came out with 200,000. The Rumble number is about what you would expect. We are looking for your thoughts on the Royal Rumble. You can leave a thumbs up, down, a middle, and best and worst match to Dave at WrestlingObserver.com. Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I mean, you've heard it yourself, man. It doesn't look good for Triple H to be deflecting those questions like that the way he did. But then again, what did you expect the man to say? So we're just going to have to wait and see how this whole thing plans out at the end of the day, because there's more dirt that's due to come out anyway. So yeah, that's all I have to say on this situation. Let me know your thoughts on it. This is the Retro Kid, Retronic Ice Cat. Until my next video, peace.